We may be the worst team in Major League Baseball, but believe it or not, the future does contain a little hope. Today, we end year one in the Oakland A's franchise on MLB The Show 23, and we're going to take a look at our top prospects for the future and go through the final game of the A's season. We're kicking things off with the number one prospect for the A's and number 26 in all of baseball. It's catcher Tyler Soderstrom, who's played most of his season down at AAA after a strong start at AA. Soderstrom is the only A potential player in the entire organization. He is 21 years old and can play catcher, first base, and left and right field. The highlights you're going to be seeing here are from some games I recorded in a live stream, but I then simulated to the end of the season to get the final stats to reference and put alongside these highlights. Soderstrom finished the season at AAA very strong, raising his average from the low 200s to 250 and hitting 13 home runs. At 70 overall, with these ratings, I think he's ready for an invite to spring training next season. He's not yet on the 40-man roster, and we have to think about if we're going to try to do anything with service time and maybe not having rookies on the opening day roster. But I see him as a potential starter at first base next year, maybe even a DH. I think his bat is ready for the show. When this season began, we had some young pitchers in the rotation that had mid-60s ratings, but were some of our more intriguing young pitchers. It didn't work out in the first 10 or so starts for guys like Kyle Muller, and I sent him down to AAA along with Ken Waldichuk. After posting a 9.2 ERA at the big league level this year in 11 starts, Muller pitched at AAA with a 4.6 ERA, a 1.59 whip. Waldichuk does a pretty good job getting strikeouts. He has a 62 K per 9, but his big weakness is his 36 walk per 9 that has resulted in him having a AAA walk rate north of 5 walks per 9 innings. My hope is that he would go down to AAA and pitch like somebody very close to being ready for a big league rotation, but unfortunately that hasn't been the case. He's gotten 24 starts down there this season, and only 5 have been quality starts. He's actually seen his stamina drop this year, and I feel like with his stamina only being at 69 and this issue he has walking batters, he almost feels like somebody who needs to go into the bullpen if he's going to get back to the big league level. I think next year he'll have a chance in the spring, but I think he's still going to need some time, especially if he's to become a big league starter. Here in this game against Salt Lake, he got into trouble because of walks and really soft base hits, and ended up getting pulled, not quite finishing the 5th inning after walks ended up loading the bases. I'm glad to see some development. His overall is up to a 70, so he's improved like 3 overall this year. But the fact that he still doesn't look like a dominant pitcher even at AAA makes me think that maybe he's not a future starter for us. One thing he has going for him, though, is the strikeout rate, and the advanced numbers, notably FIP, are much better than his ERA. So he does get strikeouts, he does limit home runs. The walks are hurting his chances to be a big league starter. He was relieved in this game by Ken Waldichuk, and there has been a bug for some reason where it's not pitching Waldichuk in the rotation down at AAA. So he's pitched very limited innings down there. But like Muller, he got 11 starts in the bigs. It didn't go well. He had a 5.7 ERA. It wasn't quite as bad as Muller, but still not good enough. And he's been down at AAA, but again, that bug kept him from getting a lot of playing time. So this game here is some of the most action he's gotten at AAA. And it was nice to see him come in, hit his spots, get strikeouts, and quiet this lineup. Got us out of that 5th inning jam, didn't allow an extra run. I thought his slurve was on display here, looking pretty good. Waldichuk, like Muller, is up to a 70 overall. Like Muller, he is 25 years old with B potential. These two are kind of in the same places in their careers, and I think Waldichuk might have the brighter starting future. He doesn't have a big weakness that concerns me right now. He does have 99 breaks, so you want to see more of that slider and slurve and how much he can do with those. But I was really happy with this performance. He went 4.1 innings. We only had to use 2 pitchers in the game, and he only allowed 2 base runners. So 22 innings is just not much, but he did get some development down there, and we're going to try this all over again next year in the spring, and maybe he'll be back in that big league rotation. I want to take you down to Double-A now. We have a Double-A team that actually had a really good second half of the year, the Midland Rockhounds. We got a little ceremonial first pitch / tryout here. I think we're desperate enough. What do we think about this guy's eephus? Maybe next year in spring he'll get the call. But who I actually wanted to highlight here is the top young shortstop in the organization, Logan Davidson. First rounder by the A's back in 2019 out of Clemson. Davidson's played most of the year at Double-A. Had a solid year with the bat, showed a little bit of power as well, but he has better contact in the mid-50s. He's 69 overall, 25 years old. He's close to his chance. Hit .245 for the Rockhounds this season, and I ended up calling him up late to Triple-A to get some extra playing time there, and those 13 games went extremely well with him hitting over .360. This year's development for him went very well. I played through a full game as well with Midland, and I wanted to highlight a pitcher. Here is Gunnar Hoglund, who opened on the A-ball roster for us at the start of the year, got bumped up to Double-A, where he's been easily our best starter down there. Here's the A's first-round pick from 2021, just 23 years old, and he has glided through this Double-A season. Here in the second, a good swing off of his fastball here, deep to right center, and Denzel Clark takes care of it. I'll be going back and forth with the highlights in this one. There's more than just the pitching to talk about. Here is a nice base hit for Robert Passan. He began at A-ball as well and got the call up. We put down a bunt here with Jeremy Eierman, and we end up advancing the 2 runners on base, get back to the top of the order, and Aribiel Angelis will fly this to center. And here at Double-A, I'll test anybody's arm. Sending him home. We get a run. It's hard to score runs here in the minor leagues at times. 1-0 lead for Gunnar Hoglund. Here's another deep drive to right. It does seem like he gives up a lot of fly ball contact. At least he did in this game. But that is when they made solid contact, and there really wasn't a lot of that. Hoglund gets the pop-up to Trenton Brooks, who has been the best power hitter down at Double-A, and shows it off here with his 16th long ball of the season. He's somebody that I didn't give much thought to because of his low D potential, but there's no denying how well he's played this year for the Rockhounds. He does have very good plate vision, which is something you don't typically see down in the minor leagues. Let's go back to Gunnar Hoglund here in the 4th inning. Runner on second, and they leave him on base with that strikeout to close out the inning. Bottom of the 5th. Another strikeout on a fastball away at 94. Let's go top 6. We have Trenton Brooks again. Scorches one into right. A 110 exit velocity on that base hit. Brett Harris is next and gets jammed in on the hands, but it's out of reach. And not only can Brooks hit a little bit, but he has the speed to get to third base here. Didn't score in that inning. And we go bottom 6. Gunnar Hoglund working his way through these innings very quickly. I was very impressed. Back to the offense again. Robert Passan right back up the middle, base hit. I'm excited about Passan's progress going into next year. He's only a 20-year-old player. Jeremy Eierman, another one right back up the middle, and Passan runs very well, makes it all the way to third base. We move bottom 7. 66 pitches in for Hoglund as he nails the outside corner with a slider for strike 3. 6th strikeout to this point. In the 8th inning, Trenton Brooks right back up the middle, notches his 3rd hit of the night. Really forcing us to take notice at how well he's played this year. Devin Foyle with a base hit into right. Midland has a threat. Brett Harris 1 for 3. Bouncing one through the right side, a slow roller. And Brooks hits the gas around third base, scoring. Midland takes a 3-0 lead. and Gunnar Hoglund would look to put together a complete game shutout. Jammed over to Harris. He's over for the second out in the 9th inning. And then, with 2 down, runner on first base. Taps softly off his glove. Hoglund recovers and finishes the job. An 85-pitch complete game shutout, showing that there really was nothing more he had to prove at the Double-A level. What a performance. I think we got to see a lot of the potential down at Midland and why they had a strong second half of the year. Trenton Brooks hit 16 homers at Double-A, and he's only a 61 overall with D potential, but when you think about just where this roster is, he's probably not that far away from being even a bench contributor at the big league level, and he'll probably start the year next season, I'd imagine, at Triple-A, maybe earn a spring training invite. Gunnar Hoglund, sub-3 ERA down at Double-A, a 1.1 whip, looked outstanding in this game, 67 overall. I think the move for him is to go to Triple-A, and next year, see how close he can get to a big league roster. I ended up getting him a few starts at Triple-A, simming out the rest of the minor league season, and he looked pretty much as good there, getting up to 68 overall. Going back to the Triple-A level, here is Zach Geloff. I think he is pretty much ready for his chance at the big league roster. Geloff plays third base, and that's it. He doesn't have any secondary positions. He's 23 with B potential and is a 68 overall. This was a really solid year for his offense, hitting 275 with 11 home runs. I'm not sure he has the power you would like from a third baseman traditionally, but he does have good contact ratings, and this year actually got significant development for his contact versus lefties, getting a +10, one of the biggest boosts I've seen for any of these minor leaguers, and that's because he hit 367 against lefties this year with 4 of his 11 home runs. I think he gets the spring training invite next year and has a real shot at the opening day roster. After the success Trenton Brooks had at Double-A, I gave him a chance to close the year at Triple-A. Played a player lock game with him, and I thought this would be a first at-bat homer for a minute. It wasn't, but he hits the ball pretty hard. I know he has low ratings, but the overall formula in this game is very skewed, and it tries to look at, speed and defense and all this stuff, and sometimes a guy is an okay hitter even for a big league bench, and consider we are the worst team in baseball. Now, he didn't show the power at Triple-A, but finished the year there, and we'll see what the future holds for him. After spending some time with those top prospects, I do feel a little more hope for our future when you also consider the draft that we just had and how promising that could be. Jeremy Ironman, we saw briefly in that Double-A game, another B potential prospect whose contact looks pretty solid. He's somebody that's 26 years old, and hopefully we can find a way to get him a chance soon. Maybe gets to Triple-A next season. We focused a lot on pitchers, but there are a couple more we could talk about. Ryan Cusick is a starter down with the Rockhounds, 23 years old. Another reason why Midland had a lot of second half success in the season. This is, a 4-WAR year. It's a really promising year for him. Robert Poison's really interesting as well. Didn't get to record a lot of stats because he spent much of the year at Single-A. He's a very young player, I believe an international free agent for the A's. And he's a switch-hitting middle infielder. 305 average down with the Rockhounds this year. 4 doubles, a triple, and a home run. And, maybe a couple years down the road, I think he's a player that we're very excited about. And then there's JT Ginn. 68 overall. I mean, we had 67s on the opening day roster starting, so Ginn, with a 2.5 ERA, probably should have gotten the bump to Triple-A at some point. And, C potential is not going to get anybody all that excited, but I think in this game you have to be aware that C and D potential players will oftentimes be among your top 26, and you've got to find a way to fill out these rosters, and guys like JT Ginn should not be overlooked. A 4.9 WAR, really strong play from him, 15 quality starts and 28 tries. I think he's somebody else that might even have a shot at spring training next year. I think there's going to be a lot of young guys competing down there, and it should be really fun to see who eventually breaks out. And that's why I think that it would be nice to maybe stream a little bit of spring training and not just sim all the way through it, because I expect it to be extremely competitive. So I've wrapped up the years for AAA. AA actually made the playoffs because of how they finished the year, but I'm not looking to focus too much on their playoff run. I want to get us to the final game of the year and now focus on the big league roster, who stays, who goes, and what my thoughts are going into the off season. Looks like we got knocked out, lost 3 of 4 to the Corpus Christi Hooks. Jace Peterson's going to finish injured, and now our last game of the year, 55-106, going against LA. A couple things I noticed briefly before we begin. Seth Brown had a strong finish to the year and has now hit 24 home runs to lead the team, and that will be just one behind his career high of 25. Connor Capel's another player that I think is a good example of why, deep potential players can offer some benefit too. I mean, he hit 276 with 18 home runs, and his WAR is going to be 0.9. Is that fantastic? No, but he deserved to be at the big league level this season, and he's a 70 overall. I don't know if in the offseason these potentials will change at all. If I could get some feedback on that, it would be nice. I've always wanted to see the potentials move more when players kind of outperform what they typically should be doing, because that happens in baseball, but I don't know if that potential is actually going to go up. I hope it doesn't drag him down just because he has deep potential. I've never been a huge fan of potential systems in games. I like it to be very performance based, and MLB tends to have a little bit of both at play. Aledmus Diaz, 262 average, 18 homers for him. Shea Langoliers, 13 home runs. He's gotten some solid development, crushing lefties. And then Lawrence Butler, I think, has been very solid and will be somebody that we have on this team for a long time, I believe, in the franchise. I don't see us pushing him out of a starting spot anytime soon. And then Paul Blackburn may have been our best starter for quite some time, but we're going to end the year with the new best pitcher in this rotation, and that is Shintaro Fujinami. Disregard the rating changes here because I had to manually edit him to match what he's supposed to have on the MLB roster file, but he's been really good. 22 quality starts, 4.2 WAR, 3.37 FIP. The walks haven't been an issue, the homers haven't been a problem, and Fujinami is going to help us celebrate the end of this year. I hope you've enjoyed the journey through year one here with the A's. If you have, please leave a like on the video. Feedback in year one's been great. I feel like we have a lot of momentum going into year two when it feels like a franchise truly begins. We haven't spent too much time here. I think this has been perfect for us to get to know some of these players, including the prospects, and get into year two where I feel like we don't have to be in quite as much of a rush. We're still going to move quick, the big league roster shouldn't be great, but I think we'll just have significantly more to talk about and get invested in. So we got one more game to go. Lawrence Butler to get us underway, playing our last game on the road against the LA Angels. 101 wins for them. We'll go through standings and league leaders, and we'll see who had fantastic years across Major League Baseball. Butler under it, softly into center field. And that's going to be played by Mike Trout. Aledmus Diaz wrapping up the first year of, I believe, a 3-year contract. Somebody we may look to trade eventually, especially if we have a shortstop coming up like a Logan Davidson that we want to give his role to. But a sharp base hit to left puts him aboard. Seth Brown is one of those players we'll think about trading in the future, but he has a ton of team control and is jammed into left center field for out number 2. Connor Capel, 276 average, 61 RBIs. That's kind of in the range that I expected our RBI leader to have. Capel right field, tacks on a couple more, and it's gone. 19 home runs for Connor Capel. If a D potential guy can just get a little potential boost, I think Capel's the our test case here to see if he gets above D. I don't like having to edit that stuff manually. I want the game to hopefully have systems in place to take care of that, because I don't think this season's a D potential kind of season. Shea Langoliers, I view him as our catcher of the future. We talked about Soderstrom earlier, and you'd think maybe with his A potential, he would be the future catcher of this team. But the defense isn't really there like the bat is. So he's got position flexibility. We got the DH for a reason. I don't think Soderstrom's going to have too many games behind the plate, but that would always be an option for an off day if we felt the need to. So I love having the catcher versatility there. But we happen to have some of our most intriguing players at catcher. There's also Susak down at AA that has B potential. So we don't need a catcher anytime soon. Fujinami hitting the outside corner with that fastball. Splitter hits the outside. Count is evened up 2-2. Let's try the cutter up and in. He went? Yes, he did. That's strike 3. And now facing the great Mike Trout. That was a risky first pitch curveball, but he kept it where it needed to be. Quickly ahead 0-2. Uh-oh, Trout's looking for his 400th home run here soon. He's at 398. And not going to get closer here, but that will be extra bases. That could be a triple. Trout hustling into second base, and he'll hold there and give Ohtani a chance. Shohei Ohtani facing Shintaro Fujinami. That's to Brown, and he's going to take care of it to finish off the first. Brent Rooker, one of those guys with B potential that hasn't had great big league play. Going to try to push him in spring training next year with some of those young guys I showed off earlier in the video. Now, there's no denying Rooker has some serious power. 83 power versus righties is one of the highest power ratings for anybody on this roster. But with low contact and low vision, you never know when that power is really going to display itself. That's weakly hit up the middle. Nice play. Here's Jordan Diaz hitting 230 for us this year. Another guy that I'll try to push in the next year. I feel like we have young guys that are in that high 60, low 70 range. And if it's not in the spring, I think even a couple months into the year, you could start to see them pushing for playing time. And I think next year, in year 2, we're going to have a lot of debuts for guys. And I can't wait to see who can become big league fixtures early, because this team needs the young talent to show some promise. La Tortuga Williams Astudillo just signed to have some fun here. He's not a prospect. It's kind of hard to take this batting stance seriously. 96 plate vision, though, is no joke. He's a tough guy to strike out. You can foul off anything. Skied into left center field, and that should do it here for the top of the second. Hammered to left field. Renfroe gets a hold of one, and the Angels are on the board. They really have the bullpens back-to-back like that over there. That's kind of weird. You don't see that a lot. Yeah, fastball caught a little too much of the plate there, I think. This one's going to force Astudillo to his left, or his right, actually. Rattles off the wall. It's a double for Jared Walsh. Hoping to limit the damage now, we got Anthony Rendon, and that's the perfect ground ball. And popped up for Langoliers. A couple balls hit hard off of Fujinami, but the A's still lead. Hammered to right. Wade watches this one drift foul. And the catcher now has a play. And that's going to end Tyler Wade's trip here in the third. I didn't notice Aledmus Diaz actually leads us in RBIs. He currently has 74. That's like a respectable mark. He's had a good offensive season for us. We'll see if we can find a bit more talent to put around him. Want to buy low on free agents. Maybe find some guys who still have time to improve. Not looking for anybody, though, that's going to be one of the top paid at their positions, though. We're going to approach this offseason very differently, given where we are team-wise. I'm looking forward to the Rule 5 draft. I'm still debating, too, if I want to stream the offseason or just turn it into a video. If I stream it, then I want to take that and turn it into an edited video. Might just be better off doing that on my own at this point and getting us to the spring. Rather spend more time on the spring training games with young guys than like streaming the off season and turning that into a video, unless I include spring training a little bit with it. I guess you can leave some feedback on what you'd like to see there. If I do the stream, well, I'll either stream it Sunday or do the video for Sunday, would be my plan. Got him with a curveball. Taylor Ward strikes out. Base hit for Mike Trout. He's 2 for 2. Oh, he wants to stretch this one. I wasn't ready for that. Shohei with 2 down. Oh, that was one to crush. Ohtani strikes out, and the inning is over. Back up the middle. It's a 2-out single here for Shea Langoliers. And Rooker drives one to center. Deep and gone. Second 2-run homer of the day. Out to the rocks, 429 feet away from home plate. That's his first homer of the year at the big league level. I put him on the roster late because you're forced to have 28 guys, and Rooker makes the most of it there. This one gets way out there, almost hitting that camera out in center field. Strike 3 on Renfroe. Fujinami picks up number 4. Why are we appealing? That was a strike. Struck him out anyway. Ooh, how about that contact from Willians Astudillo? There's an above 0 chance he's on the team next year. Minor league contract, why not? Look at this. We already got their starter out of there. They bring in Tyler Anderson. The A's offense is just too much for Griffin Canning and the Angels right now. Whoops. And, oh, he knocked it down, but Rendon has no play. Rendon's playing second base and hitting 8th. I don't think this was in the plan when they gave him that huge contract. I'm really tempted to put down a bunt here. I'll play small ball for the 5th run. Putting it down nicely. Oh, they got him there, though. And the team's RBI leader, Aledmus Diaz. That's to 3rd. You're not turning 2 on that, though. Oh, they turned 2 on it. I'd prefer not to talk about it. How about Fujinami? I mean, it feels to me like he deserves a potential bump as well for how well he's playing. You know, at the beginning of the year, really struggled to have command of his pitches, and now it just feels like you aim, the ball goes there, good things happen. A lot. Okay, that might have broken the trend. That one did get away from Fujinami. 1-2. This at-bat refuses to end. He has like 5 fouls in a row. All right, pitch 10. I'm going back to the curveball. 2-2. Uh-oh. End this at-bat. He missed. Striking out Max Stassi, though, on 3 pitches. That was a lot better. That's 6 strikeouts now for Fujinami. Man, a double play would be nice before we see Trout and Ohtani again. Base hit to right from David Fletcher. Ward hammers one to left center, and this ball is gone. And the game is tied at 4. 28th for Taylor Ward. Both have been on fastballs that ended up catching too much of the plate. I guess Trout wasn't the concern here. 4 apiece now in the 5th. Wow, I wasn't expecting that to work. I hope Ohtani wasn't expecting to get anything to hit here with 2 down and the base is empty. Oh, Ohtani's taken off. Here's Shea's throw. Got him at second base. It took a perfect throw and Langoliers delivered. But we're through 5. Both teams have a pair of home runs. It's a tie game. Same hits, same errors. Only we're into their bullpen now, and they're probably close to being into ours. We got a couple on here in the 6th inning. A single and a walk. Setting the table for Jordan Diaz. Diaz into left field, and will wave home Capel. He will score. That was close. 5-4 A's. Astudillo down the line. Foul. And a swinging bunt. That'll do it here in the top of the 6th. I want to see if Fujinami can maybe give us a little bit more in this one, but if he allows another base runner, we're probably making the move. Thought he was having a great outing, too. Just unfortunate he gave up a 3-run blast. 0-2 to Renfroe. Hammered down the line. It's going foul. And Langoliers has a play. And he's got it. Two and 2 count here to Jared Walsh. Fujinami gets him looking. And that is 8 strikeouts. Wow, it's perfect. You gotta call that. You don't get those every day. Into right, Capel over, and that, I think, is 6 quality innings for Shintaro Fujinami. Just a couple of mistakes. Come on, Zach, you got to be able to step in and give us one good inning. It's been a rough year for Zach Jackson. Supposed to be one of our better relievers and our only B potential reliever player on the roster right now. That is until the rookies that I drafted will show up next season. Diaz going to have to make a long throw, and he did not have time to set his feet. Perfect pitch from Zach Jackson. Working against the bottom of the Angels order. That's for Wade. Into the grass for the first. He got Fletcher. That's a strikeout for Jackson. So we get Taylor Ward, who tied the game earlier with a 3-run homer. That's into right. Capel can't get there, and Rendon will round second. Capel stumbles into the wall, and they'll send Rendon home. He will score, in the game tied again by Taylor Ward. What happened there with Capel? We should have been able to hold Rendon at third base. He should not have scored on this. Capel's not a great fielder. And, oh, that reach, man, that hurts. And Trout hits it softly. Inning over. But the Angels tie things up. I wish I could have sent down Jackson, but he's out of options. And soon I'm going to be out of options. I'm going to have to DFA him if he doesn't get better next year or trade him away. Let it become somebody else's problem. That's a strikeout for Seth Brown. How about Capel's redemption? He's 2 for 3. That's inside outed to short. Up the middle, Shea will sneak it through, a base hit. We've done a good job of making the most of our runners on base. Only 4 left on base today. Have a couple of home runs, a couple of 2-out RBIs too. Some big hits. We need more. Rooker up the middle, that gets through. Shea around second, making his way to third. And the A's have runners at the corners. Jordan Diaz gave us a 2-out single to get our 5th run earlier. Now with a runner at third base awaiting. Diaz, base hit right field. He does it again. And the A's go up 6-5 with another 2-out rally. 100+ wins, and this is y'all's bullpen. Best of luck in the postseason. Astudillo, base hit right field. Another run comes around, and the 2-out rally continues. The A's take a 2-run lead. After a 2-out rally, we bring in Domingo Acevedo, who might just be our best reliever this season. Let's take a look at his stats so far on the year and some info on him. He is only 29 years old, 73 overall, solid reliever, and had a good 2022, followed it up this year, and I think that he'll continue to be a guy we try to give our best opportunities to, and maybe next year is the closer. Already 2 strikes on Ohtani. No matter what happens, he cannot tie the game here. We can keep Trout from hitting again and Ohtani from winning the game. Strike 3. He went around and Renfroe's down 0-2 to Acevedo. Weekly hit and Wade sitting behind second base makes the play. Diaz should have this one. And we're headed to the 9th. And here is our home run leader, Seth Brown, hitless in the finale. It might stay that way. Out to center. And the Angels now to the bottom of the 9th. I'm leaving Acevedo out there for a 6-out save possibly. Bottom of the order up here for the Angels. See if we can put them down in order. Or hit the strike zone first. That's weakly hit on a 2-0 pitch. 1 down. Did he go? No. We have a 2-2 count with Rendon. It's another tough battle. He fouls off a lot of pitches. That's on the ground, and Jordan Diaz has the second. That's into the gap, and the Angels will see the top of their order again. Into second, hustling in, Stassi, safe. I'm not making a change. Not yet. David Fletcher. Missed inside. Acevedo behind 3-1. Ooh, he got a swing. Full count. Acevedo. Popped up for Aledmys Diaz. A great inside fastball, and the season is over. We cap it off with an A's win. Fun game. And a fun first year. But I'm ready to get us some young players, some new faces, and get this team looking a lot more interesting for year 2. The A's were never going to be the least bit competitive this year. It's a roster that, quite frankly, should be embarrassing to put together in a major league, big professional sport in the United States. But it's time for us to make this team our own as we look ahead to our first off season. That's coming your way next. Zach Jackson got the win. Don't forget it. The A's 56-106 record was not good enough for the postseason. Our leader in hits this year was Connor Capel with 149. Seth Brown had 24 home runs to lead us. Just one player broke 20. 78 RBIs for Seth Brown. That's number 1. That's not bad. 11 stolen bases for Tony Kemp and Tyler Wade. Best batting average for somebody who played a bit more regularly is Connor Capel with a 278. On base percentage, also Connor Capel, who was close in slugging. That went to Seth Brown. OPS is Connor Capel. Who walked the most? Tony Kemp. Who struck out the most? Lawrence Butler. Most doubles, Aledmys Diaz. And 8 triples for Lawrence Butler as well. Lawrence Butler, negative 1.6 WAR, unfortunately. Esteury Ruiz was negative, a few more players. Top in WAR, Seth Brown, followed by Aledmys Diaz. Top ISO, Seth Brown. For pitching, Shintaro Fujinami had the most wins, the most innings pitched, 200 strikeouts, and one of the best ERAs. He did have the best in the starting rotation. Domingo Acevedo, the best overall, and Acevedo was very solid. The best whip? Well, Steckenrider was there for 6 innings. That doesn't count. It goes to Domingo Acevedo. How about quality starts? Shintaro Fujinami, Paul Blackburn, and then James Caprillion, who finished the year injured, didn't have a great season. We'll see if we can push for his role next year. Hogan Harris, by the way, I called him up, and it was a tough season for him. Saw a little bit of increase to his ratings here, but overall didn't show great promise. 1 complete game, 1 shutout, both were Fujinami. Blown saves, 5 for Danny Jimenez. Fujinami, though, a 4.3 WAR player. That's really impressive. Acevedo and Blackburn were very solid. Top strikeout rate, Zach Jackson. He's got that going for him. Man, these walk rates are pretty rough. Home runs, yeah, Muller gave up some of those. Best FIP, that'd be Domingo Acevedo. We did finish in last place in the American League West. The Mariners, though, 61-101 weren't much better. The Rangers, Astros, Angels all make the playoffs. Guardians win the Central. The Yankees win the East, and the Blue Jays are in a wild card. While in the National League, the Braves are the number 1 seed with 103 wins. The Phillies are a wild card. The Cardinals win the Central with the Cubs earning a wild card berth. The Dodgers and Padres finish within 1 game of each other, and both are playoff teams. Jose Altuve hit .314, but the batting title goes to Juan Soto hitting .328. Brendan Donovan, .325. You got Jonathan Daza, Michael Harris, a lot of young players here topping the charts. Bobby Witt, 41 doubles. Jeremy Pena hit 41, but 51 for Trey Turner, 45 for Freddie Freeman. Triples, 10 for Andres Jimenez, and Lawrence Butler had 8. That was among the league leaders. Tommy Edman had 12. Trey Turner hit 10. Homers, Fernando Tatis Jr., 51. He is your home run leader for this year. Trout, Ohtani top 40. Judge hit 40. And so did Pete Alonso, Jazz Chisholm, Juan Soto, and Austin Riley. Jazz actually saw his power go all the way up to 99 this year. I think he's like an 88 out of the box. But he had a phenomenal season. 133 RBIs for Juan Soto, and 3 Padres finished inside the top 4 in the National League. Aaron Judge led the American League. Starling Marte had 45 stolen bases, but Bubba Thompson had 47 to lead the league. Shohei Ohtani won 22 games this year as a pitcher, a career high, with a career low 2.09 ERA, 6 complete games, 5 shutouts. Oh, and he hit 42 homers and 108 RBIs. He's about to be the biggest free agent baseball's ever seen. Zach Wheeler almost got the 20 wins in the National League. Brad Boxberger, 51 saves. Sir Anthony Dominguez had 47. Clay Holmes with 48. ERA leader, Zach Gallen. I didn't have to face him this year. Shohei Ohtani in the American League. Max Scherzer, 223 strikeouts. And Jake DeGrom, 218. Fujinami, 200, gave him 6th place in the American League. Your WAR leaders, Zach Gallen, 5.5 as a pitcher. And Shohei Ohtani, 5.9, which makes Shintaro Fujinami one of the most valuable starting pitchers in the entire league. Batting WAR, 9.3 for Mike Trout. That is unbelievable. His ratings don't even have room to go up at most places. Hit 48 homers, 306 average, over 1,000 OPS. Yeah, it's Mike Trout. 7.4, a tie between Manny Machado and Nolan Arenado. Your American League MVP is Shohei Ohtani, beating out his teammate Mike Trout. In the National League, it's Juan Soto, topping his teammate Fernando Tatis Jr. Soto is about due for a free agent deal as well. The Cy Young winner is also Shohei Ohtani in the American League, Spencer Strider. Rookie of the Year, we got Connor Capel. 278, 19 homers. He topped Shintaro Fujinami, who I would give Fujinami the award over Capel. And then they both beat out Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles, who I think was like top prospect when the game came out. Or was that their pitcher? In the National League, it's broken because Tatis wasn't in the game out of the box, so he had to be created. So he's eligible for Rookie of the Year, when it should have been Kodai Senga from the New York Mets. So you got Senga and Fujinami coming to Major League Baseball and dominating in their first 2 years, or their first year each. Did we have any award winners anywhere else? Connor Capel's Rookie of the Year, though, like, you got to give the guy a boost of potential with how he played and winning the award. I'll keep an eye on if they end up doing that at all. But I don't expect anything going our way here. Here is your playoff bracket for this year. And in the offseason, I'll simulate us through all of this. And we'll get to the offseason and make our first real changes to the A's roster. What would you like to see me try to do for this team in the first offseason? Let me know down below. I, again, do not know yet if I'll be streaming the offseason or just putting together a video. But either way, very excited to start working on this team, getting the spring training. I think we're in for a pretty fun time. With that, everybody, have a great day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the offseason.